The views and opinions expressed by Pete Moxley and Poophead of the Week do not represent the views of the staff and management of YouTube, Google, Google+, Facebook, Revolution Wrestling, or any other corporate or affiliated entities. I'm Pete Moxley. Two brief disclaimers. One, the title of this segment is Poophead of the Week. But if you're over the age of 14, or in some unfortunate cases, under the age of 14, and listening right now, you will understand that I am using another four-letter synonym slang for poop. Number two, obviously this is an editorial, a rather lighthearted one. But if you do disagree with my opinions and plan to make a complaint, send your tweets to @MrMoxley. You know what the real purpose of Twitter is? Making public opinion and retort easy to dissect, all the while holding the people behind their opinion and retort publicly accountable for the number of times within 140 characters that they decide to be first-grade grammatically fucking incorrect! Hashtag fucking wagnalls. I've been away for a while. I thought a full-time job on broadcast radio was right at the doorstep. After 11 months off the mic and a 35-minute phone interview all but proved that I was far from ready for drive time, I left my aspirations for the big time, I left my girlfriend in garbage time, and I left my YouTube page to rot within the crevices of Chris Patton's asshole. 20,000 plus views deep in his ass. Take it! All the same, even with my radio days becoming a distant memory, I had a battle plan to continue the tradition of one bright spot from those glory days inside the comfortable air of the 89net studios. While it wasn't deliberate for me to end up going from a radio broadcasting career to a wrestling broadcasting life, and in the process becoming somewhat of a kayfabe laughingstock to men in filthy attire who touch each other every other weekend, everybody, even the legends of any industry, have to start out at the bottom before working their way up to a greater goal. Or in my case, to at least shake the reputation of almost receiving heart attacks because Chris Patton won't shut up about requesting an interview. I'm telling you, in the crevices of his asshole. You can't stop him. You can only hope his other male cracker roommate doesn't leave his laptop in the bathroom. But now to the real reason why you're all here. The country of Qatar, established in 1878. Population, slaves. In 2010, Qatar was declared host nation of the 2022 FIFA World Cup. And everything that could possibly make it sound like it was the worst possible decision ever made in the history of ever rolled out. Bribery, corruption, the weather, Sharia law and its effect on human rights. And then there is the effect of those manually putting together the infrastructure for the event. 9 Middle Eastern nations are under the labor system of kafala, which requires all laborers to have a sponsor within the country of their migration to oversee both their legal and visa statuses. Qatar makes up for 94% of this labor force. That's an estimated 1.2 million people. Upon Qatar's successful bid to host the World Cup, numerous articles and videos were posted highlighting the severity of this system. Workers placed in camps, laboring under conditions which liken to medieval-era feudalism. Sponsors of workers wielding employer consent cards and detailed exit systems in order to keep workers from leaving the country. In essence, it's slavery of the you may come, but you can never leave variety. Because of the work conditions and the climate of Qatar, average yearly high temperature is 91 degrees with an average high in August of 113. Deaths have been reported. From most corners, including 5 corporate sponsors and the American television rights holder to this event, there has been a call to cancel this World Cup, if not move it altogether. But organizing officials in Qatar have remained almost stubbornly steadfast in their objections to pretty much the world's objections, treating it almost like a walk in the park. In fact, they did more than walk. Workers were bussed over to the National Day Ceremonial Road in Doha to run a marathon last week. A marathon staged for, quote, decisive response to the campaign waged by the sector of envious haters on the success of Qatar to host the 2022 FIFA World Cup, and to their false allegations of persecution of workers and residents in our beloved country. Close quote. Beloved in that your economy is primarily focused on oil our politicians claim we might have for ourselves, and fish that our own oil killed after the dreaded spill in the Gulf of Mexico. And beloved in the perk that there are nearly 5 foreign workers for every Qatari citizen. Meaning, if you're a foreigner, unless you make a lot of dough, can stand the heat, and are willing to sell your soul in the name of parliamentary monarchy, you may come, and you won't have to ever leave. Soccer's the world's game. Unless you promote the game with a pinch of national pride, you won't get the uptick of popularity here in the States that you would want. In 7 years, the world will ascend to Qatar to play its shared international pastime. But there's a more important game being played right now, and it's not a fun one. If America is to be the mediating reactionary and mutual window to the world for the rest of the civilized living on this entire planet, we have to take a noble stand. Against their own will, some 50,000 immigrant workers ran 13 miles to respond against a global outcry, of which I'm sure a majority, if not all, of those individuals would love to be a part of, but can't, because their well-being is being held virtually captive by unscrupulous religious and governing fervor and its conjoined labor laws. America should run too, in boycott of the 2022 FIFA World Cup. The country of Qatar. You know, there was a time I pronounced your name as Gaydar, but seeing how you're treating those who head your country just to work, I sort of wish upon the God you believe in to check yours sometime in the next 7 years. Poopheads of the... No, one better. Shitheads